I can't tell if she's being serious or not.
Even for me, it'll probably be a little tough,
she says offhandedly, even as her hands continue to shuffle papers.
I'll have to try some things first.
Watching more carefully, I realize that her eyes are scanning each page rapidly. So fast, in fact, that I was unable to notice it at first. Is it possible that Saya, a young girl, is trying to is actually reading my charts? Hey, Saya.
Yeah?
She answers coolly, looking up from the charts. I'm tired. Let's go to bed.
Sure.
Saya replies with a grin.
If that's what you want.
Saya and Fuminori join together again sexually, her unnatural eagerness and vigorous ways confusing to Fuminori, who grows concerned that she might get pregnant. Saya is bemused by his calls for protection, as if he doesn't understand her, and asks if he doesn't want her to have his children after all. 2 p.m. For Suzumi Yosuke, this is the most fulfilling time of day. After seeing his wife and daughter off, taking care of the morning chores and eating a leisurely lunch, it's finally time to sit down to his easel. He's not a particularly popular painter, and he would only hold an exhibition if he were hurting for money. However, the editorial design work he does on the side ensures that there's always enough to support his daily lifestyle. Alongside the salary his wife earns working for a magazine, they're able to pay their mortgage, send their daughter to school, and still have plenty left over. Yosuke's life is perfect, leisurely and absent of want. He loves his house, considering it the symbol of his life. When he mows the lawn, polishes the windows and floors, and cleans the kitchen, toilet, and bath, he feels the same joy as he does when washing his own body. Just as he knows the length of his fingernails and the time since his last meal, he also knows everything about his house's condition, the status of every door, the freshness of every flower, the amount of ice in the ice tray, every last detail. This is his pride. And when he sits in his studio, smelling the turpentine and knowing that each element of his house is in perfect order, he is filled with the ultimate satisfaction. While trying to find the right combination of paints on his palette, he suddenly feels thirsty, but soon remembers that there isn't much orange juice left in the refrigerator. In fact, it's about time to stock up on bath additive and powdered soap. He could get everything at the supermarket when he goes to shop for dinner, but it'll probably be pretty heavy.
Now then, where should I leave off to go shopping?
He wonders idly as he heads downstairs to the kitchen. Just then, a waft of air tickles the back of his neck, bringing him to a halt in the middle of the hallway. A breeze coming from somewhere. Impossible. Every window in the house is closed. Yosuke shut them himself during his morning cleaning. Yosuke enters the living room, searching for the source of the wind. Something stinks. It's the same pungent smell of fetid swampland that emanates from the Sakasaka house. Could the wind be carrying it from the yard next door? The window facing the Sakasaka yard is open, its curtains billowing loosely in the gentle breeze. There's a hole in the glass next to the lock. It looks strange, like it was melted by some chemical instead of broken. Someone must have reached through the hole to open the window. Yosuke stands paralyzed, his heart pounding with anger, and even more so with fear. He listens carefully, but hears nothing. Perhaps the intruder has already finished his business and left. But a burglar wouldn't have left the room untouched, would he? Maybe he heard Yosuke coming and hid somewhere. Yosuke realizes that his still wet palette knife is in his right hand. He must have forgotten to put it aside before going downstairs. He stares numbly at the knife for a moment, then decides it's not enough protection. Instead, he grabs the ashtray sitting on top of the table. Made of thick solid glass, it's big and heavy enough to serve as a blunt weapon. The home that he has cleaned every inch of, that he thought of as part of himself, now seems like an entirely different world. Keenly aware of the thumping of his heart, Yosuke looks around the living room and sees little that could be used as a hiding place. The intruder must have gone either to the guest room or through the dining room to the kitchen. The kitchen is close to the stairs. If there had been movement, Yosuke would have noticed it when he came down, which means that the guest room is the most likely place. He shuffles over to the guest room door and prepares to slide it open. What is that stench? Could the breeze alone be carrying such a potent fetor? It's as if the odor is coming from inside the room. He steels himself and throws open the door. The straw-matted Japanese-style room is empty. There is a closet, but no one could fit in there. So the intruder already left. Yosuke relaxes, the exhaustion of sudden relief coming over him. And that's when something seizes his ankle. The instant he freezes in shock, his leg is yanked out from under him, sending him crashing to the floor. Stars explode behind his eyes as his head smacks against the door rail. The hand, if it can even be called that, wrapped around Yosuke's ankle, extends all the way back to underneath the living room sofa. There are barely 5 centimeters between the sofa and the floor, but the intruder is able to hide in that tiny space. It can't possibly be human. Before the screaming Yosuke can regain his footing, countless hand-like things seize his arms and legs, rendering him helpless.
Calm down. Don't be scared.
The muffled, gurgling, voice-like sound is accompanied by the sensation of something cold and soft crawling atop of him. With his throat already seizing up, the panicked Yosuke can't even scream properly.
You won't hurt.
The hideous voice whispers in his ear.
Don't be scared. It won't hurt.
Two black appendages penetrate his ears and nose, wriggling deeper into his skull. Right before the horrifying sensation drives him mad, Yosuke loses consciousness.
Thank you for taking the time to see us.
Kouji says, his humble bow concealing his surprise at the doctor's youth. Even without her light makeup, she wouldn't look a day over 30. She must be quite talented to be a leading neurosurgeon at such a young age.
Don't mention it. I was hoping somebody like you two would come along.
Her friendly smile belies the coldness one might expect from her overly refined beauty.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Dr. Tambo, Sakisaka Fuminori-kun's attending physician.
I'm Fuminori's friend, Tono Kouji. This is Tsukuba Yoh.
Yoh gives a quick bow, her expression apologetic. When they had arrived at T University Medical Center and had asked to see Fuminori's doctor, Kouji and Yoh had been prepared for rejection. They hadn't expected the ease with which they were able to see the doctor.
You say you want to know what's wrong with Sakisaka-kun. Well, so do I.
I see.
He didn't come in for his checkup 2 days ago. I tried calling his home, but there was no answer.
2 days ago. The day Fuminori had been searching that mysterious abandoned house. Kouji frowns, wondering what had been important enough for him to blow off his appointment.
What is he like at school?
He's totally screwed up.
Seeing Yoh's shoulders jerk out of the corner of his eye, Kouji regrets not choosing his words more carefully.
Since the accident, he's been like a completely different person. We have no idea what to do now, so we thought talking to you might help.
Are you medical students too?
Yes.
Do you want to see his chart?
You'd really show it to us?
After gazing briefly at the incredulous Kouji, Dr. Tanbo sighs and says,
It appears that someone wanted to see it, and without the hospital's permission too. 2 nights ago, someone broke into the hospital and stole Sakisaka-kun's charts from the archives.
Seriously?
She stares hard at the astonished students and shakes her head with a tired smirk.
Well, it doesn't look like you two are involved. I'm relieved.
Of course we aren't.
However, the culprit must have had an interest in Sakisaka-kun's condition, or they wanted to erase his records. Either way, I can only assume that it was someone close to him.
I see.
An ominous thought flashes through Kouji's mind.
Couldn't have been Fuminori, could it?
Kouji looks at Dr. Tanbo and finds her staring right back at him, her expression grave. He realizes that she must be harboring the same suspicion.
What do you think? Do you have any idea who among his associates might have done it?
Perhaps Tanbo didn't have anyone in mind when she asked. But Kouji's thoughts immediately fly to the eerie house that Fuminori led him to.
I don't know if they're acquainted or not, but there's someone called Ogai. Probably a doctor or a...
Kouji stops speaking as he sees the dramatic change that has come across Tanbo's face.
You know him?
Do you know when and where Sakisaka-kun first encountered that man?
No. That's what I'd like to know, Doctor. Just who is this Ogai?
After remaining in pained silence for some time, Tanbo lets loose a heavy sigh.
All right. It's not like you couldn't find out on your own easily enough. Ogai Masahiko was a professor at this university. He was dismissed over 6 months ago, however, following several scandals.
Scandals? What did he do?
I can't say any more to outsiders. And anyway, it has nothing to do with Sakisaka-kun.
Kouji has no argument with which to answer Tanbo's flat rejection. However, he can't shake the feeling that this Ogai person is the key to unraveling the mystery surrounding Fuminori.
Doctor,
He says, making up his mind.
Sakisaka Fuminori might be involved in a crime.
At the sudden declaration, both Tanbo and Yoh raised their eyebrows.
What do you mean?
Someone went missing after going to see him. Fuminori denies any involvement, of course.
You mean Omi-chan?
Kouji is unable to bear the shock in Yoh's voice.
Sorry, Tsukuba. I couldn't tell you.
Tanbo is frowning, her expression even more serious than before.
Right now, this Ogai seems to be the center of Fuminori's attention. If we know who he is and what Fuminori's looking for, we might start to see the whole picture. Please tell us, Doctor, just what happened at this hospital.
Dr. Tanbo hesitates for some time, refusing to make eye contact. But she finally shakes her head.
I'm sorry, this is not something I can decide on my own.
Doctor.
Give me some time. I'll do my own investigating now that I know that this can't be ignored.
Please.
Kouji is out of options. All that's left is to trust this young doctor. It's frustrating. But there's a limit to what can do for a friend.
Let's exchange cell phone numbers. I'll call you if I learn anything, and you call me the moment anything changes.
Yes. All right.
What happened to me?
Yosuke's consciousness returns slowly, as though rising from a bog. He's cold. No, he's hot. Something itches like tepid tongues and cold slugs crawling over his skin.
What the hell is going on?
He wonders as he timidly opens his eyes. It's all over the walls and ceiling. The thing that attacked him in the living room, that entered his skull, it's everywhere. Terror shatters Yosuke's sanity. He throws off the thing lying on top of him, but his wild flailing sends him crashing to the floor. But is it really the floor? The long wriggling fibers of what should be the carpet are winding themselves around his fingers. The floor is made of worms. He tears his limbs free of the worms and tries to stand, but loses his balance and goes crashing to the floor again. The worms immediately swarm over his entire body.
Where the hell am I? Where did that thing take me?
Yosuke crawls across the worm-ridden floor towards the only exit from the pulsating room. When he gets outside, however, he finds that the hallways and other rooms are all made of blood, bile, and rotten meat. There's no place to run.
What is this?
Most terrifying of all, This hellish place has the same layout as Yosuke's house. In a half-mad daze, he wanders through the warped, nightmarish version of his own home. In the small room where his studio should be, he finds an easel made of bones displaying a blood-soaked canvas. Like some cruel joke, everything's exactly where it would be in Yosuke's studio.
Damn it. Let me out! Let me out of here!
Howling, Yosuke swings his arms wildly, pummeling everything within reach. The easel of bone shatters, driving splinters into his fist. He feels the sharp pain, but does not awaken from the nightmare. If this isn't a dream, then what is it? When his strength gives out, Yosuke falls to his knees sobbing. For the first time in his life, he prays to the gods. The sound of the door opening and closing grates on his ears.
Downstairs. The front door. Someone else is here.
Yosuke trembles at the blood-curdling sound. It's that thing again. The monster has returned.
Daddy, I'm home! Where's dinner? Always not here. It's evil shopping. When can we eat?
Yosuke hears the sound of something slimy sloshing its way up the stairs. Even as he cowers in terror, he slides his trembling hand across the floor and grabs one of the bones from the broken easel. The tip of the bone is nice and sharp. If he holds it in both hands and puts his weight behind it, he might be able to use it to protect himself.
Let's Start Project.